Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be looking at what is the nature and purpose of the spiritual gifts that are activating or upgrading for you at this time. There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is this Angelite pyramid, along with these cards. Group 2 is the Amethyst pyramid, along with these cards. And group 3 is the Aventurine pyramid, along with these cards. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and fill whichever group, maybe multiple groups, or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you would like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Angelite pyramid, along with these cards, which I'll start with to get an idea about kind of the nature and purpose of the spiritual gifts that are maybe coming online for you for the first time, or that you are experiencing an uptick in, an upgrade to. And we have respect. You are being guided to respect the decisions and opinions of others. Power animal. Your animal's spirit guide is a guardian to you and is helping you with this situation. The drum. Heart of source. All-encompassing love, unconditional acceptance, serenity. St. Martin Caballero, spiritual pilgrimage. And Goddess Freya and Amber, the Untamed, with the angel number of 888 at the bottom. So you might be seeing the angel number 888 coming into your reality frequently, or maybe this will be kind of on the horizon for you. Eights are kind of symbols of some cycles, but the transcendence of cycles, as opposed to just looping around in the same patterns. It's moving up to the next level. So in some way you could be upgrading some of these gifts, maybe some latent talents that you might have had, some things that might have started to come online for you perhaps earlier in your spiritual journey, if you've been in kind of a process of ascension and awakening for a while. There could be a shift in terms of the intensity of these gifts, the ways in which you are starting to kind of get a clearer picture of how to utilize these things in your life. You might also be experiencing a lot of sort of deja vu that could be coming up, a sense of familiarity, a sense of almost kind of wobbling in and out of timelines could be sort of a theme, where you're either finding yourself maybe thinking that it's several days later than it actually is, or time seeming to, go very quickly or go very slowly for you. All of that can definitely be very confusing, but again, is sort of this symbol of some kind of an upgrade taking place. You're kind of moving up to the next level in some capacity. You're operating in that liminal space between the vibration that you were embodying up to a certain point in time, and this new vibration that is seeking to kind of take hold, take root in your life. It's a process of kind of moving back and forth between vibrations, sort of touching on things that were resonating with you, maybe your surroundings, even kind of that internal landscape. And then having that sort of point of comparison as you are kind of jettisoned up to this higher vibration, you're able to then bring that frequency back down into your reality, your 3D current reality, and to be able to then sort of decipher either intentionally or even just vibrationally, to really sift through people, places, and circumstances, belief systems, mindsets, points of views and perspectives that are, maybe something that you have outgrown, something that no longer resonates with you, and to really be able to have that discernment as far as what you want to bring up to sort of the next level or the next phase in your journey. With this idea of respect and respecting the decisions and opinions of others, you may be experiencing an increase in empathy, where you are able to sort of feel into the emotions or the undercurrents that people are not necessarily expressing, or that are in some way contradictory to what they are presenting to you, which could be kind of confusing. It's a sense of almost being able to sort of feel in beyond the mask of whatever is being projected towards you. This can even be, you're interacting with someone who's putting on a very happy face, trying to, remain positive, and you're able to kind of sense these undercurrents of distress or negativity or fear, maybe even some kind of resentment that is being projected onto you, really being able to, sense other people's wounds. You could find yourself as well, just as you are kind of shifting this vibration and you are kind of elevating, you're triggering people around you in profound ways that either are really recognizing this vibrational call that your soul is putting out through the work that you've done on yourself, or even just this openness and willingness and ability to perceive these shifts that are taking place within you. And so this new vibration that you are harnessing, that you are embodying, that you are immersing yourself in, becoming and emitting, it's something that again could be quite triggering for people. Either people gravitating towards you as sort of this source of healing and elevation because of the steps you've taken, or the ways in which you are being shifted out of a particular vibration into another vibration, or again, things being unlocked or heightened that may have already existed within you and been part of your reality. And so kind of like a magnet, people are really drawn to that, either as kind of a dumping ground for their problems, or this can also be people coming to you for advice, people starting to really respect you and to listen to you and to take something away from the interactions with you. There's something here as well about with this idea of respect that, again, as far as triggering and irritation is concerned, not everyone is going to be receptive to this light, to this part of you, to this component of you. A lot of people, even just by sheer interaction with you, it's really going to bring up a lot of shadows, a lot of things they've been avoiding within themselves, or even just changes that they are being called to make. And part of human nature is just to sort of resist evolution, resist the changes. We become very comfortable in what is known and predictable, even if that is, in some way a limitation of our greatest potential and capacity. It's what's become familiar. It's part of the ego mechanism of trying to keep us sort of safe in what is known, in what coping mechanisms and strategies have already been put in place for. That this idea, any kind of change, no matter how large or small, it's new territory. It's something that the ego is unprepared for. And so, again, this kind of like overly protective mechanism to bring up feelings of fear or feelings of aversion, feelings of wanting to stay with what is known and familiar. It's part of this, almost with the good intention of the ego trying to keep you safe by not stepping out into the unknown where there could be unforeseen dangers and peril that are sort of coupled with the potential for abundance, the potential for blessings, the potential for kind of a greater experience of your human life, kind of the next leg of your adventure than you've been experiencing up to this point. And so as all these things are taking place within you, there will be people that you affect in a very profound way that will be inspired either directly by the way you're living your life, the changes that you've been making, or even just vibrationally will be sort of affected by this shift that is taking place within you, this up-leveling, this kind of breaking out of a loop and stepping into the next level in some capacity, either vibrationally or literally in some sense. But with that is also kind of that caveat to respect other people's choice not to do the work on themselves. Respect other people's choice to remain stuck in their own patterns. It's this idea of, in order to help others, you have to help yourself first and foremost. And that can be very difficult, especially when you care about people or as a deeply, empathic and empathetic person. You have so much love to give. You just, you recognize this kind of healing within yourself, and there's this desire to help others, especially when you're able to recognize these currents and these undertones of maybe fear and pain and wounding that hide behind a mask that people present, and there can be this inclination to want to help, to want to heal, to want to guide, to want to be that kind of shoulder to cry on, which can then, very easily sort of transfer over into that arena of being a dumping ground, where then your light, your radiance is being depleted at a greater rate than you are able to recharge yourself. So definitely with this whole process and with what's going on within you, respect your own boundaries as well. Learn your own needs. If you need time to just kind of remove yourself, to recharge, time spent alone, time spent in meditation, time spent in nature, really carve out the time for yourself to implement those aspects and elements of self-care. And in that, you are better able to navigate this journey for yourself and be of greater assistance in the future to others around you and those you care about. And this can also really tie into, again, maybe sort of holding back from this urge to overgive or to help and to heal. People that aren't willing or aren't ready or aren't able, they aren't at the place in their particular soul journey of being ready to take that next level with you. And as difficult as that can be, you may find yourself needing to kind of distance yourself, remove yourself from even long-term relationships, because it's a vibrational mismatch now at this point in time. Some of these people can't come with you or aren't coming with you where you are going. With this idea of power animal here, there might be particular animals that you are seeing at this point in time that are showing up in your reality a lot. This can be things you're seeing on social media. This can be animals that are literally crossing your path a lot. This can also be animals that are coming through in dreams. Everybody has kind of a set series of animal totems or animal guides that they are born with. And these are protector spirits. These are companions. These are sort of our link to kind of the more liminal spaces, kind of the other aspects and faces of the animal kingdom, which we ourselves as human beings are a part of. And part of that that kind of standard or set sort of menagerie of spirit animals that we have at different points in our journey, different points in our life. Other animals, other animal guides, other animal spirits, other power animals can enter our reality, again, for certain periods of time, either to, encourage us to really dig into that archetype, really dig into, the traits and the characteristics, decipher the spiritual meaning of that, tap into that power, tap into those qualities and characteristics, because in some way that can help us, that can help encourage us and stabilize us. That can be, kind of, again, this guide or companion as we are navigating a particular phase of our journey. So horses might be significant for you at this point in time, horses being symbols of sort of freedom and this unbridled power. This is tying in as well to some unbridled force within you. Again, this kind of element of deep empathy and love within you that you might have maybe not been really tapped into as much, or if you've considered yourself an empath in some way, this gift or ability in general is going through an upgrade, or maybe at this point in time you're becoming more keenly aware of that. And so horses can be a very good sort of a power animal to even, deliberately call upon, tap into that, contemplate that, kind of that strength and that wildness that to a certain degree has the ability to be tamed, has the ability to be worked with and to be maneuvered, but, ultimately is kind of a source of power that must be respected. It's a matter of having that perspective that you can work with this, but not allowing that, that empathy, for example, to kind of get the best of you, not, resisting the urge to kind of overly give, to drain yourself to the point of depletion in this interest of helping and wanting to heal others. So again, horses might be significant, or even butterflies are coming through. A lot of you might be seeing that as kind of symbols of transformation, symbols of change that can just be kind of showing up in your reality to let you know that as awkward or uncomfortable, as strange or out of the ordinary what you're experiencing is currently, that this is all part of a process of metamorphosis. The intensity of what you're experiencing, it will level out. There's a lot that's happening with you energetically, a lot that's maybe coming, into your energy body that is then being digested and kind of transferred into the body physical, into the emotional body, into the psychic body, and is therefore manifesting. And again, this kind of heightened degree of empathy, this heightened sensitivity to energies around you that people are maybe emitting. So, again, being very cognizant of whatever animals are showing up for you, or really kind of searching and seeking out animals that embody maybe some characteristics of grounding, kind of terrestrial animals, as opposed to if you're feeling very kind of overwhelmed and flighty at this time, you may need to call upon something that is more of a kind of a dense dwelling animal. Bear spirit might be important for you at this point in time, to again kind of reinforce this idea within yourself that you are safe, that you are protected, even while being kind of bombarded with energy from all sides. There's a sense too with bear spirit of this idea of hibernation, and again allowing yourself, gifting yourself that time to just kind of remove yourself from environments that are a little too intense, a little too draining, maybe taking a break or taking some time away from people that are operating at kind of a low density vibration, that are kind of dragging you down or making you feel very overburdened and drained when you are in their presence, as opposed to really uplifting you or kind of meeting you, matching you at your level, where you're able to really sustain each other vibrationally. And again, allowing yourself that permission to kind of retreat, take that time of rest, take that time to kind of process these changes that are happening. With drum, this really talks about rhythm and the universal heartbeat, and again ties into kind of this universal force that you are being strongly connected to, this force of love that flows through you, that flows through all things. It's kind of this mechanism that then is manifest as what we know as empathy. It's an ability to kind of see again into the wounds that people have, to recognize through all of that, through what is being projected, through kind of the barriers of fear or kind of desperation, hopelessness, anger, that beneath all of that is this core of love. It's the recognition of that seed within all things and within all people. And so this can again be kind of a symbol of this increasing for you, but at the same time with this idea of rhythm, really taking time at this point to kind of create even a different routine for yourself, taking time to center yourself, making sure that you are tending to your own needs, helping yourself before you can be a very effective source of help for others. This can also really talk about, with this idea of the drum and this rhythm, that in some point in time in the future, what you are experiencing right now, what you're going through now, kind of this influx of sensation, the ways in which you are inspired to, or in which you find kind of relief or stability or balance in all of this, your journey in some way is going to help others in the future. Maybe this is something that you will speak about, you will write about, you will teach people, you will coach people, you will be that mentor. But you're in this process, this preparatory stage, almost this initiatory stage, where you're needing to learn through experience. You're needing to, be thrust into that fire in order to become one who breathes fire. To be able to become one that is that conduit, that is not, completely incinerated and eviscerated and broken and crumbled. And even if these things do happen to you, that you then become that phoenix and you rise out of that. You become that living example of change. You're tapping more into that current of love which flows within you. You're able to identify that even in kind of the darkest corners of other people's souls. And in some way, this can then kind of operate as being a way shower for others in the future, helping others, encouraging others out of their own kind of space of darkness, in some way helping others to help themselves through that living example, through what you are kind of learning, and again, sort of techniques that you are being inspired toward, or that you are developing even for yourself. With this idea of drum, it's very free-flowing. It's very organic. It's almost like, the heartbeat that, no two heartbeats are alike. It's a very unique sort of energetic rhythm specific to an individual. And so there's an indication here of kind of a unique path that you are carving out. Maybe following, examples, getting inspiration of what other people are doing to kind of ground or to deal with these things, to sort of recenter. But in some way, there's this indication of you taking it to another level, putting your own kind of twist on it, putting your own signature on it. And in that way, being of great benefit to others in the future, to again inspire them on their unique path, to find their own rhythm, to find their own sense of balance within kind of turbulence that happens, or even people who then find themselves on an ascension journey, a spiritual journey, in some way, being kind of that leader of the band that then, sets the rhythm, sets the tone for others. You're that voice that others then can hear in their point of darkness. They look to you as, again, that living example, to be able to, provide even just insights about what has worked for you. And maybe a grain of that, maybe a word, maybe a sentence resonates with somebody. It activates something within them, which then they are able to kind of go in their own direction with it, find their own stability, find their own rhythm within themselves over what is occurring. With Heart of Source, you could be experiencing a heart chakra activation at this point in time that, again, is opening you up to this greater capacity to experience love and perceive love that could even be deeply embedded within other people, to, really communicate with others at kind of the soul-to-soul level. Even vibrationally at this point in time, again, this idea of people maybe gravitating towards you for advice, or even being deeply triggered by you at this point in time. It's because the vibration that you are holding, the changes that are taking place within you, regardless of what it is you're saying, just the frequency you are emitting, you are touching other people at the soul level. You are an effector of change in others. You are really instigating within others this kind of unconscious drive to evolve, this kind of unconscious invitation that is being extended, that whatever has been kind of the known and accepted reality or vibration or perception up to this point, that there's much more out there. There's a sense too here with serenity of this peace that you are really being called to cultivate through a very unique practice that will be, individual to you, inspired by others maybe, but something you will have to discover and develop and craft for yourself. But it's this journey out of chaos to that center of peace. It's this process of, finding that sanctuary within, despite whatever storms or chaos and confusion are occurring around you. It's giving yourself permission to detach and to remove yourself from, very kind of dense or intense environments and people. It's gifting yourself that permission to take that quiet time to reflect, prioritizing self-care, setting some boundaries as well, not directing it against anybody personally, but just really prioritizing your own kind of needs, your own well-being. And in that, you really step into your power. You become, again, that living advocate for change and for practicing that element of love by first and foremost being that very loving and nurturing space to oneself. With the Saint Martin of Caballero and spiritual pilgrimage, this does refer to a spiritual journey, an ascension journey that you are on. So for a lot of you, again, it's this idea of kind of an upgrade to something that may have just been sort of background noise for you, something that maybe has been a gift that has been there all along, but you've just not been so keenly aware of it. Something about your perceptions are changing. You're moving up to the next level in some way, in terms of your capacity to interact with others, maybe some healing gifts, or again, some leadership qualities within you that are really being awakened, or that you are being called to cultivate by first and foremost leading yourself to that place of peace and acceptance and understanding for yourself first and foremost, helping yourself before you can help others. This card also really ties into the fact that you are protected at this point in time. It can feel very overwhelming, the changes that are happening. It can feel almost the vulnerability or the newness of kind of having shed a skin, and you're sort of stepping out into this fresh exposure, being very keenly aware of energies around you. And, sort of the vibrations that a lot of people or even environments and circumstances emit, and the intensity with which you feel these things, it can lead to that sense of vulnerability, being nervous, being a little unsure, kind of questioning yourself if what you're feeling is real, and just kind of wanting to kind of run and hide from all of that. But you're again being encouraged that you are safe in this process. You have, spirit animals that are helping you, that are surrounding you, that are inviting you to really call upon them for strength, call upon them for armament. Your spirit team is around you, your passed on loved ones, your angels, your spirit guides, just anything that you resonate with. Take the time to really call upon these forces or these entities. Call upon them, draw upon that well of strength, whether that's your lineage that you connect with, whether that is elemental forces you connect with, or angels. They are all at the ready. They are waiting right there for you, just beyond your perception, already supporting you, already surrounding you, and inviting you to really call upon that. Make your prayers, make your petitions, just even kind of think about these people or these things, and really soak that into yourself. Take these qualities into yourself. Recognize that kind of what is taking place within you, it is for a larger purpose. In some way, there's a leadership role or some kind of an example that you are supposed to set for others. And it's this journey of, becoming that adept through this period of experiencing what it is to be a novice, what it is to experience the newness of this. Through your own personal journey, you're then able to relate to others in a more acute way. You're able to really understand maybe what people are going through, even if they can't put it to words. You're able to really sense that. You're able to empathize with that because you yourself have gone through this experience. You've gone through this alchemy within yourself. And the more that you are kind of finding these strategies and tactics to kind of deal with all all of this, it's something that not only helps you, but it helps others in the future who will be on their seeking journey, their ascension journey. When it's their time to wake up, when it's their time to go through these changes, then you will be there as kind of that vibrational beacon for them, that point on the horizon that through the chaos, kind of that redemption or that place of serenity is possible. With this idea here of Goddess Freya, she is part of the Norse pantheon, and her tears turn to gold. And so this is this idea of the struggles that you are having right now, the intensity of what you're experiencing, kind of the confusion and the chaos, that there is treasure within that. You're really being guided to, even if you can only do this in a small way, or if it's very difficult to maintain, but seek to kind of take that higher view of what is taking place right now, understanding that kind of the discomfort, these growing pains that might be experienced, it's all for a larger purpose. This will serve you in the future in some way. What you are encountering and experiencing aligns with a greater part of your kind of purpose or mission, if you will, in this lifetime. In some way, what is being unlocked within you, what is being experienced within you, the ways in which you are interacting with the world around you and people around you, it is equipping you to be a more conscientious and entering into a state of wholeness that you might not have been able to perceive before. This is opening you up to a different element, a different layer of who you are, a different element of, the gifts that you possess, and kind of a greater than potential of understanding how to navigate your path moving forward. There's an idea here of somehow what is happening is aligning you with some untapped potential within you. Can bring you into alignment with even goals and dreams that you had that you might have had minimal success in achieving up to this point in time. It might have felt like really an uphill battle, an uphill struggle for most of your life or at a recent period. But that what is taking place, it's deepening your perceptions to such a capacity that you will be able to kind of navigate and anticipate ways forward by seeing beyond the facade, seeing beyond the masks, tapping into energy, trusting that over what you are being told, what you are seeing, what your preconceived notions are, your perceptions are, and learning to kind of navigate through feeling. It'll help you to kind of fast track yourself beyond barriers and obstacles, beyond kind of repetitive cycles, in order to kind of transcend up to the next level or the next chapter of the experience that you are meant to have in this lifetime. With this idea of the untamed, there's this sense of rewilding yourself, that whatever this gift is, it's something within you that, it's part of your innate nature. This is something that, again, might have just been kind of a low hum in the background of your perceptions that is now activating. It might feel very wild, very uncontainable at this point in time, almost this idea of a wild horse that's just kind of running rampant, and there's nothing that you can do but just kind of go with that. And part of that is embracing this aspect of the journey, allowing this force within you, this ability within you, this sense or aspect of you, like a floodgate that has been opened, and that rush of what has been built up and has been kind of dwelling behind the scenes or subconsciously for you, allowing that to flood forward and trusting that after this deluge, there will come a period of ease. Things will settle. Things will find their containers. You will find a way to contain this or work with this, to move through kind of this channel and these fluctuations. But at this point in time, it's almost like you're having to be exposed to the full intensity of it, the full untamable, untapped potential that exists within you, so that you are able to have a greater appreciation for the power that you possess within you, this power, to kind of see beyond circumstances, to see beyond limitations, to see beyond difficulties, to operate through that kind of force in that channel of love, to navigate beyond things which are kind of a hindrance to that, or which sort of are a disservice to that, to your higher good, to achieving that kind of infusion of love in your life in all capacities. And through recognizing that untapped potential, that untamable force within you, this can help propel you on your journey going forward. It can help you be that living example, that inspiration to others, that by unchaining yourself, by freeing yourself, by untethering yourself and moving with the flow that is innate to you, you are able to then kind of reach a greater aspect of your destiny. You're able to co-create with spirit. You're able to really actualize your purpose in this lifetime. So I'm going to get some guidance from spirit for you, group 1, about this situation, about what's happening, these gifts, kind of their purpose, their intention at this point in time, where that can go moving forward. So we have thriving. And again, this really is this encouragement that whatever storms you are going through will pass. As difficult as this might seem at this point in time, you are growing. You are coming into contact with a greater aspect of yourself, coming into greater contact with your higher self, through even this kind of deep empathy that you might be experiencing, the sense of really, having antenna all around you and within you that is picking up on things that you might have been, quite oblivious to before, or just wasn't really part of your perceptions before. That through all of that, it's a sign that you are, you're in touch with your higher potential. This is in some way part of your higher purpose in this lifetime. And it's something that through these experiences, through finding those ways to kind of ground yourself and to cope and to just trust and flow with this, that you are participating in that ascension, in kind of moving beyond this. Eventually this chaos will subside, or you will grow into a point where you're able to kind of look beyond that. In the same way that you might be able to sort of perceive beyond what people are presenting, the facades, the masks, the presentation, and you're able to really tap into that core of who they are, relate to people at a soul-to-soul level. In some way, this experience will help grow you, and in some way, you will kind of develop this tendency, or this instinct will kick in as far as what you as the individual need to do in order to kind of rise above this, to recognize what is happening and what you're experiencing, but not allow yourself to be dragged back down. In this card as well, there are other giraffes in the background, so this can really talk about other people who are on this, having this similar experience as you, or have gone through this before. This is a sign that you are not alone in this. This can also talk about, again, spirit animals. So maybe a giraffe is something significant for you, something that's coming up, something that you might want to kind of look into and kind of embrace or call upon as that power animal at this point in time. But this can, again, relate to this idea also of helping others in the future to navigate through their own process of ascension, through their own process of kind of peeling back the layers of how they have moved through the world to tap into that higher potential, to recognize and move through the world as kind of a greater version of themselves. No longer the physical body, but also the etheric body, moving in that space of liminality between this and that. Okay, and we have know your power, and this is very appropriate with the horse. Again, that could be significant for you, a significant animal at this point in time, an animal you might want to tap into, call upon, lean upon that, utilize that as an example or an explanation of what is occurring for you right now. There's an untapped potential within you that in some way has been uncorked. It is increasing. And again, you're experiencing maybe that, almost this idea of kind of a fire within you that now gasoline has been poured upon. Whether this is something spontaneous, something you've come into contact with in your environment that has initiated this, something cosmically, some kind of a transit, a shift, some kind of an energy that has come through that has really sort of sparked and awakened and enhanced this flame within you. to know this, to embrace this, to take the time to really examine this within yourself, and to realize that, with this power, with this potential within you, you really are the one who gets to decide. Is this going to be a power that, destroys you? Is this going to be kind of an ability or a gift that corrodes you, that limits your capacity in this lifetime? Or is this going to be something that you are going to harness, that you are going to allow yourself to be moved by, that you are going to embrace as part of your identity, part of your new identity going forward, or as a part of yourself that you may just not have been aware of before? This is a time also of, again, kind of with all this yellow, this solar plexus energy, this empowerment energy that is as overwhelming and confusing as what is happening right now is, further down the line, and ultimately this is a process of stepping into your power more fully. This is a process of becoming that co-creator in your own life, instead of just being moved by kind of the whims and the vibrations of others or your environment. You're able to kind of see beyond, see on the other side of that curtain, to be able to, again, sort of navigate away from things that are not serving that highest good, that are limiting you or draining you, to be able to move towards and magnetize in experiences and people that will help uplift and support this vibration within you, and kind of are, on that similar kind of frequency or wavelength in terms of wanting to move forward, wanting to transcend limitations, wanting to transcend outdated cycles, wanting to align with and fulfill their purpose in this life, as opposed to just kind of going through the motions, killing time, so to speak, and kind of taking that, the opposite approach to that, which is making the most of the time that you have. So I'm going to get a little affirmation for you, group 1. Okay, and we have surprises. Under the most ordinary stone is an undisturbed garden. So that's very appropriate in terms of what you are going through now. It will be very surprising for you what this turns into, what sort of the path ahead reveals, maybe as far as your life purpose, a lot of changes that may take place in terms of what you do for a living, how you relate to others. There's a sense of, as overwhelming as this might be right now, as much as you may feel very cursed or very burdened by what you're experiencing, that further down the road, as things kind of settle, as you acclimate to this, as you learn to kind of move through this current, and again, develop these strategies within yourself to cope and to ground and to kind of process and protect yourself, to give of yourself in a healthy way, as opposed to allowing yourself to be depleted or overburdened by kind of the densities that are drawn towards you, or even this tendency to trigger and repel maybe others from you because of this light that you are emanating, this radiance you are emanating, this higher vibration that you are embodying. That despite all of this, at the end of kind of this period of the growing pains, that there are some wonderful surprises in store for you. This gift is something which it really feels is helping to align you with some greater part of your life's purpose. Some greater kind of impact that you are meant to have, a greater understanding of kind of why your soul chose to incarnate in this particular body, at this particular time and space in human history, in earth history, that in some way you are kind of this living example to others. Literally, you will be a living example, or just vibrationally in how you affect other people. You can be that catalyst for others to really sort of change and do that inventory and kind of accept that invitation that they are getting from spirit, from their higher self, to really step things up in their life. And so I think it will surprise you the ways in which you even operate as that inspiration, or you are that source of healing and empowerment for others further down the road. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and just handmade jewelry, no longer divination tools, in my Etsy shop if you are interested in checking those out as well. So I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Amethyst Pyramid along with these cards, which I'll start with to get kind of a feel of the nature and purpose of some spiritual gifts that are activating within you, maybe for the first time or that you're experiencing an upgrade to. Okay, and we have dreams. The angels are guiding you as you sleep. Shield yourself. Protect yourself from harsh or fear-based energies by envisioning a cocoon of healing light surrounding you. The Holy Mountain. Soul Star activation, fulfilling soul contracts, remembering who you are. St. Jude, saving grace. And Ascended Master El Moira and the Blue Star Sapphire, higher will, with the angel number 333. So 333 could be coming up for you a lot. Threes are numbers of kind of this collaboration with source, with spirit. It's this idea of balancing polarities within ourselves in order to become the key to unlock access to our higher self, access to sort of the higher realms, to co-create and sort of nurture and establish that relationship with the divine through nurturing and establishing the relationship with ourselves. So with this idea of ascended masters, you could be getting a lot of downloads right now with this idea of dreams. There could be prophetic dreams that you are getting. Sort of significant dreams, maybe interacting with a lot of kind of beings or entities or spirits or passed on loved ones in the dream state, something that you are doing in the dream state, some kind of healing, something that is being unlocked within you, maybe even crown chakra activations at this point in time. You are in some way strengthening your ability to take in this higher information. You're getting into contact with your higher will, your higher self. So clairaudience might be increasing for you, or really just any of the clairs, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairaudience. I believe it's called clairolifants, where you are able to smell spirits, just any kind of number of things that might be coming in for you, that are increasing for you, to where it again is sort of, you're becoming a stronger antenna between the earthly realm and the energetic realm. You are becoming strengthened as that bridge, that conduit, that vessel, that voice in some way for between the intangible and the tangible. So again, this idea of angels and ascended masters. We've got the Archangel Michael here as well on Shield Yourself. That you're really protected at this point in time. You might have a little bit of hesitation about really tapping into some of these gifts and abilities within you, kind of things that are coming through. And there could be an element of questioning. What's the nature of this? What's the source of this? What does this mean? What's the relevance of this? Almost this idea of sort of questioning maybe even your sanity or your perceptions a little bit, not really being sure about what's going on, not being able to fully trust in what's coming through. A lot of, again, downloads or this kind of conscious contact that is happening through dreams, through your waking reality, with kind of these higher forces, or even sort of this layer that envelops you in terms of your own angels, in terms of ascended masters that work with you personally. And this can, again, even in terms of prophetic dreams, or this holds the energy sort of deja vu as well. That could be kind of startling for you. There could be some kind of confusion or a tendency to be sort of hard on yourself. Why are you getting these kind of messages and these inclinations that don't really make sense at the time and then unfold at a future point in time? A sense of maybe being very frustrated with yourself, trying to kind of solve the puzzle, solve the riddle, solve the mystery, not really being sure what the purpose of that is. And really it's coming through that kind of the purpose of that is just to kind of open you up and to sort of reinforce this idea within you that you are in fact genuinely able to connect with a higher level of energy, a higher level of information than people that aren't necessarily on an ascension path, or that aren't open to that. That whether this is something you've already been kind of involved in spirituality, you've already been on sort of this ascension journey, and these things are upgrading for you. A lot of this feels like very new energy though, so a lot of you could be kind of new on your spiritual path. This has kind of come out of nowhere, and it has put you on this kind of search. It's put you on this this kind of path of seeking, to where maybe you have found this particular video, maybe you have found other information, you're starting to find out more about these things, but there's still a degree of skepticism in that, if you can trust that, what the purpose of that is. It feels like a lot of information that's just coming through at this point in time, and you're not really sure what to do with that, how to decipher that. A tendency to want to kind of keep quiet about that, to hide that, to not share that with other people because it feels so different. It's so outside of the realm of, what other people in your environment, or what you've been taught or have come to know as sort of the nature of reality, the nature of communication, or even kind of the spiritual realm, being cracked open to concepts that might have been quite new to you. And through all of this, it also feels that kind of these prophecies or these dreams that you are getting, it's leading you on this quest through and into direct confrontation with the holy mountain of this fear within you. It's almost some kind of a wound that is deeply embedded within you, maybe stemming from past lives where spiritual gifts of this nature, particularly the gift of prophecy, where you were persecuted for that, you were hunted down for that, you were extinguished because of that, you were ridiculed, you were exiled because of that, and it's something which has stuck with you at a soul level. It's something that even, based on your particular circumstances, your demographics, kind of the culture that you are in, this could be something that is not accepted. This is something that's not talked about. This is something that is shunned and ridiculed. And so what you are experiencing, it's something that's even kind of laughed at or mocked or dismissed as kind of foolishness or superstition. And so kind of this experience that you're going through, you're having to go through this on your own and very quietly, very privately, with this idea of saving grace, almost with this desperation, praying for relief, praying for deliverance from whatever is happening, feeling that there's something maybe wrong with you or very other about you. That there's something very unnatural about all of this, very spooky about all of this. And so it's almost this tendency toward resistance, a lot of fear coming up as well. Again, that mountain, that challenge of fear that you are now being tasked to move through, to overcome, to move out of your life. This kind of need and desire for protection, which is being reinforced for you. Through this process, you are highly protected during all of this. You're really being tasked to recognize that fear is just an illusion. And it may then require that certain circumstances that you are in order to speak your authenticity, this kind of the cost of that or the expense of that. But it's a very necessary price of stepping into that authenticity is, maybe facing that ridicule from others, facing that judgment from others, allowing yourself to be moved away from people and circumstances that are not supportive of you in this process, that don't understand that because it's not part of their journey in this lifetime. It's not part of their awareness. It's not part of their wheelhouse or how they define reality in this lifetime or at this point. There's a sense here too with this idea of remembering who you are, that you have prepared lifetimes for this point with what you're experiencing right now. Again, this idea of being persecuted in the past, for these gifts and abilities, specifically in regards to prophecy with this, all this blue energy here, something you are supposed to speak out or deliver, to be that vessel, that conduit for information from your specific guides, from the kind of universal forces that you are able to access, that you're able to tap into, or that have chosen you to be that kind of vehicle, to be that vessel, to be that voice, to convey that vibration. That part of this is, again, it's something that you may have done in other lifetimes. You've been preparing for lifetimes for this, and that for whatever reason the climate is right, the times are right in this age of information where there's a lot that is still taboo, but it's a period of time where walls are being broken down. It's kind of this very liminal place where kind of logic and spirit are mixing, they are meeting. It's kind of the idea of the blending of science and theology, or science and spirituality, and then in some way you're a key component of that, of kind of breaking down those misconceptions, breaking down those barriers of fear that others might have about kind of the spookiness, or what they may consider the unnatural nature of whatever it is you are channeling or experiencing, this ability, this gift within you, this gift of prophecy within you. That in some way this is, to again kind of help to be that living example, to break down those preconceived notions, those barriers of fear that others may have about the nature of these gifts. Important almost kind of messages or reassurances that you are intended to provide for other people, guidance that you are intended to provide for other people. Also, just even in a kind of in a more individualized way, that you're being invited to strengthen your contact with what is coming through for you, because in some manner it is meant to help you to fulfill other soul contracts in your life, to kind of break out of cycles. We have the number 9 here on the St. Jude card, 9s being kind of the conclusion, things wrapping up before you get to the number 10, which is the actual conclusion of the cycle and something new begins. So a process of kind of closing things out, unfinished business from past lives, kind of a path that you had been walking in other incarnations that you were either thwarted from continuing, or that came at great peril and expense to you. And so, as you've kind of moved through the ages, or even in this lifetime, these abilities have been kind of ingrained in you. They have come with you into this lifetime. This may have been something that, you've been resisting this for quite a while. You've been trying to kind of push this away, pray this away, turn a blind eye to it, in some way numb it, stuff it down, ignore it, shut it off, because it's so different from kind of others around you. It's so different from what people perceive as normal or as ordinary, or what people even perceive as kind of the fabric of reality. That in some way what is happening for you, it is this process of kind of wrapping up that current of fear and avoidance, wrapping up that stage of keeping yourself hidden, keeping this part of yourself, these gifts, these abilities stuffed down, closeted away, tucked away where no one can see them, presenting a side of yourself that you feel is acceptable, almost this mimicry that has been happening, maybe even unconsciously, to just sort of fit into the environment around you, to fit in kind of the prescribed expectations of what life should look like, what reality should look like, what the nature of relation is between mankind and source, or mankind and greater forces. There's also an element here of kind of a blending of traditions as well. Maybe something where, you've grown up in a very kind of religious circumstance, and you're leaning towards, and you're being activated more in kind of these areas of mysticism that is in direct kind of outward contrast to whatever the system is that you've been involved in. But kind of beneath the surface of that, there is this undercurrent of mysticism that you are being tasked to really sort of tap into, really bring to, the forefront this idea of almost weaving something, taking these traditions, digging deeper beneath the surface, to recognize those kind of spiritual components that lie under the surface. Again, this idea of prophecy, or being some kind of a voice, a vehicle, or a mechanism for these higher forces to kind of speak through you. There's an idea here with this holy mountain of this being a very sacred journey you are on, an initiatory process which is happening for you. So again, all of these clair abilities might be just, coming in very rapidly in succession, and just a little overwhelming, a little chaotic for you. But in all of this, it is again this initiatory stage, it's this preparation stage. Its purpose is just to make you aware of these gifts and abilities within yourself. There's a unique aspect to this. Things about you, ways in which you are able to communicate with your higher self and with spirit and with universal forces, that is not ubiquitous to all people. This is not gifts that all people possess, or that all people have the ability to tap into. There's something very unique about kind of your relationship with this, how these gifts and abilities have manifested within you. And you're also being tasked to move beyond that kind of idea of dimming your light by assuming this is, you're just one of many, you're somehow insignificant, or that this is not commonplace, and so therefore it's something which should be kind of avoided. You're being really guided to recognize this unique light that you have, this unique ability, this unique voice, or at least this very generalized ability you have, and how that manifests through you uniquely. That what you have to say, the way that this information or this energy is channeled through you, it's something that nobody else can mimic. It's something that nobody else can, in that very unique and personalized way. It's not going to come through in the same manner. Other people may be kind of doing this, channeling these same kinds of things, employing these same kinds of gifts, but it comes through uniquely in every person. Each kind of vessel and conduit and instrument of spirit is fashioned in a very precise manner that is determined based on our life experiences, based on our character and our disposition, our family history, our lineage, our soul history, what our souls have each been through prior to this incarnation that kind of formed us and shaped us into how we manifest in this lifetime. So there's this idea here also of recognizing yourself as unique and special in terms of how this gift is manifesting through you, to not discount your voice as meaningless, as insignificant, but to recognize that, even this kind of difficulty or this otherness you are experiencing, that in some way kind of moving through that, accepting that challenge, in some way, you are helping other people to recognize how the divine uniquely operates through them as well. Whether that's similar types of gifts, or in whatever way spirit calls to them, to step beyond what is regular, what is normal, what is ordinary, what they have come to understand themselves as up to this point, and to allow that kind of light of divinity to be illuminated for them as an individual, to shine through and to manifest through their particular gifts, through their special and unique gifts, through the very unique voice and the way that they have to convey whatever these kind of currents or channels are that are coming through. With this card here about the Soul Star activation. Soul Star is a chakra. It hovers kind of above the crown chakra. The crown chakra being almost that kind of that top tier, that top tether to the body physical. And the Soul Star chakra is really, it's almost the chakra of the higher self. It's almost that intermediary. It's that point of access. So for a lot of you, this could be activating. Again, you're getting into higher contact with or greater contact with your higher self. Through this chakra, you are able to, connect more deeply to kind of the higher forces, the higher will, the ascended masters, the angels, the spirit guides, these divine currents, these divine forces, with this idea of even the blue star sapphire and the soul star activation. You could resonate, and all these stars here, you could resonate as a star seed. You could be channeling in information from your galactic collective, from kind of your point of origin off Earth. This can also really be a process where you're being called to recognize that that your unique nature, the difference about you, this very kind of peculiar aspect of you that is so different from maybe others around you, others in your family, even the way that others in kind of a spiritual community and how they channel information, how that comes through with them and through them. It's really guiding you to recognize perhaps some off-world origins that you may not have considered, to really contemplate that, explore that, delve into that, and to recognize as well that, part of this spirit team that is around you, that is supporting you, that is guiding you, that is providing you, this kind of insight and this information. It can also involve kind of these other cultures, these other spheres, these other realms that are outside of sort of the typical idea when people consider to be, channeling things. Often people think of, they're channeling ascended masters, they're channeling angels, they're channeling, passed on loved ones, spirits, if they're, consider themselves to be a medium, which you could also be a medium. This could be something else that is really coming in. Feels like a channel for a lot of different forces, a lot of different energies, something that you can really kind of move and flow through, which again kind of contributes to this very unique nature for you, being just a channel in general for all of these forces, both of the earthly, the celestial realms, and even the galactic realms, that in some way you are able to kind of move and communicate and be that instrument for all of these different sort of frequencies and channels. And so being really encouraged to kind of tap into that, to explore that, to look beyond even sort of typical ideas of spirituality. Typical ideas, in investing time in researching and getting to know and familiarizing yourself maybe with angelic energies that you resonate with, but taking that a step beyond, exploring the idea of, even galactic energies, certain collectives that are known, that are named, that are familiar, opening yourself up to the possibility that your point of origin is a collective that is as yet unnamed. It is as yet unknown. It is something that is more remote. It is something that is maybe, just starting to kind of come through and communicate with kind of people in the earthly realm at this point in time. Kind of moving beyond this need for definition and stepping into that energy of trust, trusting that you are protected. We also have here the god Horus on this soul star activation card. And that just really talking about, again, this idea of protection, and also of this higher perspective. Horus being a hawk, and hawks, they sit and they wait, they observe, they are very patient. They do not rush the process. They will wait all day on top of a telephone wire, waiting for that perfect opportunity, that perfect moment to kind of go for what they want, to attain that target, to attain that goal. It's this sense of confidence, not a desperation of where will that sustenance come from, where will the answers come from, where will the next meal come from, where will the next step lead to, but it's operating and it's dwelling out of that space of trust that in the right time and in the perfect manner, what you need to sustain you, what you need to kind of provide you with the stamina to continue on your path will be provided to you. Exercising discernment as well, even in terms of the messages that come through. A lot of times, with being a channel for energy, even with being a medium, you are a living antenna, and it can be almost like the idea if you're flicking through radio stations and there can be static. There's a lot of there's different types of music going on. There's different, there's talk shows, there's songs, there's commercials, there's, again, static. There's a lot happening. And so some layer of discernment as far as knowing what to sift through and versus what really kind of resonates for you, what sends off kind of that vibration of this is significant, grabbing onto that and allowing that to be what comes through. Stepping into that place as well, if you are somebody who is choosing to kind of channel information, moving into that space of trust, not trying to, figure out the relevance of that, not trying to figure out what does this mean, what is the larger purpose of that, but allowing yourself to be that channel, allowing that to just flow, trusting that it will reach whoever it needs to reach, whether that is one person or that is many people, whether that is somebody, in real time, or somebody 10 years down the road that comes upon that information, or in some kind of further permutation of that information as it's kind of passed from person to person. Allowing yourself to step into that place of really accepting and embracing this part of yourself, seeing this mountain of challenge, how different you might feel, how different your perceptions of the world might be, how vulnerable that might make you feel, recognizing this as a gift, recognizing this as something very unique that you have set out in this lifetime to accomplish, unfinished business you may have had, times in the past that might not have been conducive to this. Humanity was not at the level of being ready, able, or willing to kind of receive and hear the vibration and information that you are capable of channeling at this point in time. There's a feeling here of convergence as well, that again, it's sort of a prime recipe at this point in time, that what's being activated within you, it's almost this sense of being very predetermined, that at this point in time, however it is that this you choose to allow this to manifest through you, that there's some importance to this, even in terms of how you are inspiring other people through that sense of trust and surrender, to trust and surrender to the ways in which Spirit chooses to move through them. Even if it's not something, directly in what you're saying, it's just embracing this as a part of you, bringing this out into the forefront, embracing that psychic side of you, embracing that intuition, embracing that inner knowing, as opposed to trying to hide that away or stuff that down or really kind of denying or moving away from that. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit for you, Group 2, about this situation, these gifts, abilities. Okay, and we have release. So this is really talking about that element of fear, maybe even an idea of who you are, what your purpose is in this life. Releasing all of that, releasing the limitations you have placed upon yourself or others have placed upon you. Maybe even releasing ideas or connotations that you have with these gifts and abilities as somehow being wrong, or somehow being, bad, or that there's something defective about you. There's something deficient about you. Allowing all of that to go so that you can stand in kind of this energy of your truth, so that you can stand very proudly in this ability. You can kind of take something that might be a shadow that you've kept within, or something that, as this kind of change is unfolding within you, and your inclination to kind of keep that hidden, keep that secreted away, to bring that out into the light somehow. Whether that's, kind of support groups that you find online where you're able to discuss these things, sharing your story to some capacity. Maybe it's creating some kind of a platform, even just bringing these things out as kind of a first step in the form of journaling, in the form of artwork, in the form of, not turning away, not shunning these things, but looking at these things, acknowledging these things, embracing these things, opening to the possibility that, and the reality that what you're experiencing is just as genuine as whatever you have come to know as reality up to this point, that this and that are true. That the material world is a factual base, and the etheric plane is also a factual base. Learning to kind of walk between these worlds, to in some way what you are tapping into or accessing there, to allow that to sort of transfer down into your material reality, to kind of navigate you, to help you on this path, to move out of this energy of kind of guilt and fear and shame, and to step more into the space of embracing yourself and who you are in this very unique way in which Spirit wants to manifest through you in this lifetime. This can also talk about this release of wounds of persecution from the past. And for some of you, you know, this can be something where, you know, in order to embrace this kind of totality of who you are, it may come at the expense of other people that have been in your life, people that won't understand this, people that won't support you on this journey, people that will question this or will ridicule you for this. And it requires that confidence, that trust, that what falls away from your life, people that do not embrace this part of you, that, you know, these people and things that fall away, that in time, those that understand you, those that are meant to hear you, those that, you know, are meant to be touched and affected and can, you know, relate to what you're experiencing, the vibration that you hold and these gifts that you have, they will be drawn to you, they will be magnetized to you. In time, you will align with kind of the intention of this, the purpose of this, and the people that are meant to be touched and activated or comforted or reassured or inspired by whatever this is that comes through for you. Okay, and we also have embrace the feminine. So this really is talking about the feminine polarity of energy in terms of receptivity and magnetism. You're really being encouraged to trust in this, trust in what is coming through, receive these messages, receive this energy, observe these senses, this you know, gift of prophecy, or this ability to connect with things outside of mundane and ordinary reality. Recognizing that within all of that, that something is really gestating for you, that, you know, some kind of an inspiration, something will become clear to you at some point in time about the purpose of all of this. You know, again, maybe messages you feel compelled to convey, or even just dreams or inclinations that you have that are pulling you in a certain direction, a certain area of exploration, or even kind of physical changes that you're being called to make within your life, the people you surround yourself with, where you're living, what you're doing for a living, all of these things in some way, to allow yourself to be shaped and transformed, to embrace and kind of bring out of the shadows more of this aspect of yourself. That by embracing that, you are again putting yourself into alignment to the magnetization of people and experiences that are for your highest good, that are intended to kind of connect with you on this level, and that in some way, you know, you are also kind of to be of service to people on that level by standing in that authenticity within yourself, by, you know, being that channel, by being that receptacle, that vehicle, that voice for spirit and for these currents, that in some way you are fulfilling a part of your purpose, and that people who are kind of meant to receive these messages, to be touched in this way, even touched vibrationally by this, will make their way to you in time. So any kind of loneliness or things that, you know, are falling away or being released, there's this idea of that being replaced when the time is right by something that is a more authentic fit for you. And we also have light. Look to the space between the trees for answers. So another great confirmation there of this idea of the liminal space, the space in between, and this encouragement that if you've been kind of fearing these gifts within you, you've been sort of fearing what you've been tapping into, kind of confronting these conditionings from society or from what you've grown up with, or you know, just even how different this is from what quote unquote normal people focus on, or what we have been kind of conditioned by the scientific mind to determine is the quantitative reality, and therefore the only reality. You're being guided to expand that perception of reality to include not just the seen, not just the measurable and the tangible, but to make space within yourself for the validity and the reality of that which cannot be measured, that which cannot be fully known or named, that which can only be sort of sensed and experienced, to kind of shift that perspective of viewing this as a burden or kind of a curse or a darkness. Again, this element of fear, stepping into that energy of love and trust, recognizing this as a very unique light that you possess within you. that these gifts may be similar to what others have, but your way of conveying these things, your way of processing and kind of filtering and delivering this light of truth through these currents is unique to you. Your voice matters, your perspective matters, your ability to convey these things matters, and you know, are kind of being guided and advised to kind of disconnect from comparing your journey to others. While you might find some kind of reassurance or you know, some kind of camaraderie in that, to first and foremost recognize that everyone is an individual, and kind of the way that these things manifest, it's individual to each person. Not comparing yourself too much to kind of the practices or the methodologies that others employ, that others kind of practice, using these things as inspiration, but kind of taking things maybe from many different traditions, or finding something that works for you as an individual, trusting in, again, your very unique voice, trusting that something that you're bringing through, even just standing and embracing this truth within yourself, you're stepping into this light, you're being that beacon and that lighthouse for others, to also kind of take the blinders off and expand their scope of reality and the scope of their kind of purpose in this incarnation, kind of the meaning and composite of life and of reality beyond what they have been taught, or beyond what is measurable, to kind of incorporate sort of these unseen and etheric forces as well. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 3. You chose the Aventurine pyramid along with these cards, which I'll start with to get kind of a feel of the nature of the spiritual gifts within you that are activating, maybe for the first time, or going through some kind of an upgrade, and sort of what are the purpose of these things, the intention of these things. We've got freedom. Archangel Zadkiel is setting you free from the restrictions that have been blocking your peace. Manifestation power. Use your spiritual gifts and natural abilities to attract your desired outcomes. The Sorcerer. The Divine Matrix. interconnectedness, synchronicity, God incidences, Saint Joseph, divine creation, and Angel Amethyst and blue obsidian, revelation, with the angel number 444. So you might be seeing 444 a lot, or that could start to come up in the near future for you. 4s being a number of stability and of security. A possibility as well, kind of this idea of a foundation, almost like the bones of a house or a structure, kind of this idea of the skeleton around which all other things kind of develop and are built and are created and are sort of supported by, again, that kind of structure, that foundation. So you could be experiencing very quick manifestations at this point in time, like literally your thoughts becoming things very quickly. This could be something which, turns out very positively for you, or also kind of has these unintended consequences. With this idea of revelation, you're really starting to get this kind of, these confirmations very quickly. That even things you're working toward, goals you are moving towards, a lot of signs and synchronicities confirming that you are on the right path, encouraging you to keep going, to keep pressing, to keep moving forward. Maybe even kind of road signs or doors or pathways that are being opened and provided to you by spirit for kind of the next leg of your journey. Opportunities that are presenting themselves to you in some way, with this idea also of kind of the foundation and the structure embodied in the number 4 and the angel number 444. There's a sense of preparations that you have made up to this point. Maybe you are somebody who has been kind of aligning with your spirituality more, practicing meditation, closing out some cycles within your life, moving away from toxicity within yourself and within your kind of environment. You've been practicing that rigorous self-love. You've been getting very serious about your goals and about things that you do want to experience, and you've been getting very, very serious as well about things that you no longer want to entertain in your reality. And through this process of taking assertive action, not just sitting in an energy of defeatism or a woe is me kind of attitude, this element of sort of complacency, just sort of making do and kind of putting these maybe dreams that you have had, kind of putting those on a shelf, or operating in this kind of mindset of maybe these things aren't for you, maybe you aren't meant to be lucky in love, you're not meant to kind of reach your career dreams, or even this idea that life must always be a struggle, that has kept you kind of at bay from peace in a certain way in your life. It has kept you at a distance from the reality you've been seeking to achieve and experience. It's almost like this idea of the self-fulfilling prophecy, and in some way, some work that you have done within yourself, even just that glimmer of hope that maybe has sparked within you, this kind of with this the flower of life here on this divine matrix, this idea of a seed, something within you that has been planted, either by some kind of a concept you've come into contact with, a conversation you've had with somebody, or even just a choice that you've made to, really choose to create a different kind of life for yourself than whatever it was that you have been sort of entertaining, or whatever it is that you have been imagining as kind of the way that things have turned out and what that means going forward. That this change perspective, this choice, this desire, and even the steps you've taken to this point, or the contemplation of steps has really effectively shifted your vibration in some capacity to where you have now unlocked this manifestation potential within you. You have created a key within yourself. You have become the key to your own liberation in some capacity. And you're really encouraged to continue doing that, whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's mantras. Maybe you've been listening to subliminals, binaural beats. You've been meditating. You've been, getting some energy healing, some Reiki sessions. Maybe even it's as something as, investing in yourself and getting a massage, treating yourself to, dessert, even though you've been convincing yourself you need to be on a diet. Just any kind of little indulgence, investing time within yourself, investing in your health and your wellness, changing your diet, changing your exercise routine, getting more sleep, giving yourself permission to rest, permission to recreate, moving out of this energy of always needing to strive and do, and just getting into that space of just being, just being very in the moment, just opening yourself to the possibility as well of dreaming for something more, something different, that in some way you've taken control of your life, and again you've become that key to unlock that manifestation power and potential within you. This could be something, again, this element of kind of for better or for worse, where you're really needing to be very mindful of your thoughts, your manifestation ability with the sorcerer here, and this is like the magician in the major arcana of tarot, where you in some way have created some alignment, or you're starting to kind of really put those pieces together, realizing that you have everything that you need with you, making the most of what you have, creating something out of nothing even, creating change in your routine, change in your mindset, which is in turn manifesting as change in the outside reality, change in opportunities that you are encountering, a change in your perception of your journey in this life, your journey up to this point. And with that comes great responsibility as well. This feels like a very kind of sacred duty that you have unlocked within yourself. It's, a great degree of power to be able to co-create. And so discernment is really a large factor at this point in time, that by harnessing and tapping into that creative energy, that creative potential within you, you both have the ability to create kind of this idea of heaven or hell for yourself. And so needing to be very conscientious and very mindful of that. Also with this idea of freedom and liberation, recognizing that kind of any impositions that you have been placed upon you, any ideas that you've kind of absorbed into yourself of being unworthy, undeserving, that you're in this process of kind of moving these things away. You're in the process of kind of obliterating these things, liberating yourself from these ideas. In some capacity, what you are doing, the part of this journey or this process you are on or are embarking on, to really create change for yourself, to make the most of your circumstances, to really transmute pain and disappointment and difficulty into a source of power, that in some way this is, functioning as a way shower for others. There's always this idea where people say, oh, people can't change, or at a certain point in life, you can't change, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, or just whatever it is, that in some way you are operating as a direct contradiction to that. You are, through this innate ability within yourself, you have this potential to show and demonstrate to others how change is possible, how change really is generated from within first and foremost, how change really involves this process of kind of anticipating opportunities, working with spirit, asking for what you want, setting those seeds of intention, and kind of maintaining that mindset that what is yours, what is meant to be, what is meant for your highest good is already on its way to you. Not just moving into this energy of passivity where you allow things to pass you by, or you don't strive or go after what you want, but becoming very determined, not suffocating those desires or those wants, but infusing them with the proper amount of love and trust, commitment and action, taking small steps, even small steps in terms of your change in perspective. This idea here as well of kind of this newness that is being birthed within you, a new approach to something, a new approach to your life, taking the circumstances that you find yourself in and creating something of wonder out of that, something of meaning, something of value. In some way, your story or the process that you are going through, the things that you're using, you're almost, you're a witness, or you're a testament to that power of the law of attraction, that ability to change, that ability to co-create. You are a testament or a witness to the hand of the divine in all things. You may be consciously increasing your contact with spirit, with your angels. You may be praying a lot. You could be making vision boards or making lists of what you want to experience, engaging in kind of rituals or practices to release from your life, cut cords even with Archangel Michael here in this sword, cut cords of limiting beliefs, cutting away from kind of relationships or circumstances or even perceptions of yourself that have you standing in kind of a lack of power and a feeling of helplessness or hopelessness. All this kind of yellow and orange energy here is, again, becoming very comfortable with who you are, becoming very certain with what you want going forward. Taking an assertive approach, taking matters into your own hands to be that change, to become that change you wish to see in the world, which starts within. It starts with that change of mindset. It starts with stepping into that confidence of knowing you are worthy and deserving and able of kind of receiving and cultivating joy for yourself. With this idea here also of this blue obsidian. Obsidian, it's classified in the mineral kingdom, but it has no crystalline structure. It is magma that cools so quickly that literally there is no time for a crystalline structure to develop. Blue, so it's a very rare and particular phenomenon, just the right type of circumstances and climate that has to occur in order for that, that magma to hit the atmosphere in such a way that, it is able to almost leap beyond time, because crystals within minerals, they do form very quickly. So if you can imagine then moving quicker than quick in order to be able to solidify into something hard, something solid, something so stable that, cultures, Native American cultures have used obsidian to make arrowheads, to make weapons, to make sources of, acquiring food, hunter and gather cultures. So it's this innate strength that exists within this mineral that is very different from kind of other minerals within the mineral kingdom, that it doesn't have that crystalline structure. It's almost a classification in and of itself. The idea of blue obsidian, that occurs when, coupled with that, there are molecules of water that are kind of embedded within that almost quicker than instantaneous process of that very hot kind of molten semi-liquid material that coagulating into kind of this strength and this structure. And there's a sense here of defying the expectations, maybe odds that have been stacked against you. This idea of the underdog coming out on top. That when all things seem to be kind of working in opposition to you, you have found a way or are finding a way to kind of rise, to kind of transmute what may have been almost a very destructive force or a time period in your life, and utilizing that to become kind of your source of power, arming yourself with skeletons that you may have kept in your closet, things you may have been kind of ashamed about, or disappointments that you might have had, utilizing this into your armament, utilizing your story, being that testament, being that witness to the fact that, no matter what life has thrown at somebody, change is always possible, that no matter how humble the beginnings are, empowerment is always possible. And really also tying in with this idea of kind of these synchronicities, God incidences. I like that, as opposed to coincidences. Just very much being in alignment and kind of recognizing these roadmaps and these signposts that life is offering you, that spirit is offering you, the sense of some kind of a prayer or a call that has gone out, even at the soul level, for change, for deliverance, with this idea of revelation and, kind of this exposition of truth, that your prayers have been heard, your prayers have been answered, the work that you have done to kind of dislodge yourself, to free yourself from some kind of circumstances even within you has really activated something, this ability to now create this change. With this great power comes great responsibility. But in that as well is this ability that you now have to be that testament, to be that witness, to be that living example, to be that way shower, to guide people. Both of these cards here also have, these torches. And it's this sense of the stage that you are at right now, what has been unlocked within you, this kind of manifestation ability, this law of attraction ability in real time, that in some way, either what you are creating for yourself, on multiple levels spiritually or in a mundane sense through this ability, or ways in which you further down the road will kind of talk about these things. You will tell your story. You will sort of tell others what you have done, kind of performing that act of comparison. Here's where you were and here's where you are now. These are the steps in the road that you took to get there. That in some way this will almost be the light that ignites and inspires others. That in some way your story, your unique experience, your unique ability, the ways in which you have really kind of operated with the divine, you have co-created with that. You've nurtured these seeds of potential that have existed within you. You've resurrected dreams that maybe you had been kind of pressured to sort of put by the wayside, or life or circumstances had kind of limited your ability to achieve these things, or had kind of derailed you from that progress for a period of time. That in some way you've resurrected that. You have resurrected yourself. You've become this phoenix out of the ashes, or you are becoming that through this gift of manifestation, through this gift of being very cognizant of and developing kind of your own language with spirit, your own way of kind of putting out intentions, following that up with actions, recognizing and following the synchronicities and the God incidences or coincidences, recognizing the interconnectedness to continue to kind of navigate through this sort of winding journey from where you have been to where you would like to be. And again, this really ultimately in the long term being an inspiration to others. Even if for some of you, you might kind of coach or mentor people, this might be something where even you are just sharing your story or being that living testament, being that living example, even touching the lives of people that, maybe have known you before and then see what you have become or what you are developing into and how that inspires them, how that kind of breaks down these walls and these preconceived notions that change is not possible. You are that living example of change. You are that living example of redemption. You are that living example that from humble circumstances, something magnificent can be born and can thrive. That sort of no matter what the situation of the past has looked like, you always have the potential to kind of transcend these things, to make the most of these things, to turn that kind of that pain and those lessons into wisdom and power. So to get some guidance from spirit for you about this gift, these manifestation abilities, this co-creation. And we have change. So this is again kind of this talk of changing your circumstances, being that co-creator, taking what you have to work with, the raw materials, even the raw materials of disappointment, things that you may have really looked at as obstacles within yourself, within your life, and the changes that you have made within you already, changing your perspective, even kind of employing this energy of forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, to really free yourself from the tethers and the binds to sort of difficult circumstances. That also in keeping with this idea of kind of that obsidian and sort of that right place and that right time. There's an idea here of that what you are going through right now, and this process of alchemy that is taking place, this process of really coming into greater clarity with what you want moving forward and recognizing your ability to kind of meet that halfway, that it will help to, really change your perspective on what you've been through. in the past. Things that you may have looked at as obstacles, you will now recognize as kind of that force of elevation that has really helped to sort of propel you onto, this ascension journey, onto this greater path that is helping you to reach different horizons and see things from a different perspective than you would have had otherwise. If everything went your way, if you got all your wishes and all your dreams came true, and it was just very linear and kind of a straight and narrow path, then you would have missed out on kind of this very unique perspective. You would have missed out on this extraordinary experience that your life is becoming. You would have missed out on this ability to be that change for others, to help change others' perspective of what is possible, how adversity can be overcome, how even the most dire of circumstances can be used to one's advantage, taking whatever one has, even if that's just a vapor of hope, and utilizing that to propel you beyond limitations perceived or what have been kind of projected on you by others. That again, without kind of the struggle and the adversity that you have faced, you would not have been able to experience the richness of what your life has become, this testament to sort of co-creation with the divine, the testament of grace, the testament of mercy, the testament of finding that forgiveness in oneself, and how kind of changing perspective is then able to change what circumstances in small and very grand ways that people are experiencing and encountering and moving towards. Okay, and we have embrace the masculine. So this is really talking about that masculine polarity of energy, that action-oriented, that go-getter energy that doesn't just sit and wait, but makes moves, takes the time to anticipate opportunities, and walks through fear with confidence, with knowing. This is an energy of taking back your power from anything and everything that has operated or has attempted to make you feel small and insignificant. This redemption from any sort of defeat that you have experienced. Again, this idea of this alchemical process that is taking place where, obstacles or humble beginnings, or, this idea of mediocrity or meagerness, or just having, very little within yourself, even in terms of hope, finding even just that single grain of opportunity, starting somewhere, taking some first step, even if it's in the realm of, really changing your ideas of what is possible. And that by doing this, you set other forces in motion. You become that active co-creator. You set that intention. You make that intention known. You harbor that vibration of anticipation within you that it is yours. It will come to you. It is yours for the taking. And then you follow that up with concrete action steps, whether these are making lists, whether this is investing time in daydreaming about what you want to achieve, whether that's taking a class, whether that's creating a vision board, or participating in a community forum where you are sharing ideas with other people, whether that is taking things out a step further, telling your story, really talking about, the things that you have done, the things that you have employed, being that kind of way shower, that fire which then kind of touches and ignites that spark within others to get excited about their dreams again, to kind of move beyond this energy of complacency into hope and possibility. And so again, you're really encouraged to just be very proactive about this, be very cognizant of signs that you are getting, little synchronicities that you're getting, little nudges that are specific to you, either as points of confirmation, because as much as we, kind of move through life, or the most optimal way is without the need for the approval of others, but to be that kind of self-sustaining force, kind of answering your own call, rather than sort of looking exteriorly for that validation. We're still human, and there still is that kind of that need for reassurance. And so often these synchronicities, these coincidences, these angel numbers, it's that wink from the universe. Keep going. You're on the right path. We see you. We recognize the efforts that you are making, what you're investing in, and this is a solid investment. This investment in yourself, in the alchemy of yourself, in the transmutation of yourself and your circumstances. That this is in alignment with your highest good. So embracing that, following these points of confirmation, these thumbs up or the gold star from the universe that you are getting, and continuing to walk that path. Toward that destiny, toward what you want to experience, toward manifesting for yourself a life that you are excited about. And in doing that, you can help to show others how it is done. Even just again in this energy of the before and after. Even people that didn't know you before, that are just able to sense this vibrational change within you. They're able to sense this strength within you, almost like this strength without the crystalline structure, that you did what you needed to do when time was of the essence and the pressure was upon you, and the odds were stacked against you, and yet you persisted. You turned yourself into, this very kind of unique, and reinforced through the wisdom that you have gained, even through harsh lessons. You have reinforced yourself with that. What might have been defeat in the past, you have instead utilized that to be a source of some of your greatest strengths. Okay, and we have hope. An idea like a single acorn can start a wondrous forest. So this is really confirmation that whatever you are experiencing, wherever your spiritual path is leading you, this kind of law of attraction, these manifestation abilities, the life you are creating for yourself, you are a beacon of hope to others that change is possible. Ultimately, whether you tell your life story one day, you share these things, you speak on that, you have some kind of ministry about that, in whatever form you are called to really manifest that as. You encourage people, you coach people, you mentor people, you teach people. You're that support system for other people, or even just in a less kind of literal sense. Being that kind of that voice of encouragement to others that are involved in that process of trying to change their life in some significant way, to kind of make the most out of their circumstances and to kind of reach for their highest good despite wherever they may find themselves on their current life's path. That in some way the process of what you're going through, these gifts within you that are being unlocked, becoming that key to your own sort of salvation. That this does serve a kind of a larger purpose, not only for yourself and your own kind of the liberation of self, but you're also in the future then kind of intended to help other people, to be that way shower for other people, to be even that living example that is the contradiction to that idea that change isn't possible. People don't change. As a person is a certain way, or circumstances occur and that's just it. That's the end of the story. It's a lost cause. It's hopeless. You are instead the antithesis of that. You are the hope. You are that promise of redemption. You are that living example of what is possible when someone takes, a very proactive approach to utilizing what they have created for themselves through their actions or inactions up to a certain point in time, and that decision to change course, which can be made at any point in time. It is never too late to change. Change is very difficult. Change is a very long and drawn out process. But it is almost kind of the greatest venture one can endeavor, and no matter how small or grand a scale, that to resist change, to avoid change, or to kind of dismiss change as something that is hopeless and that is part of non-reality, is sort of the limitation of the potential of what dwells within the human spirit, what dwells within the possibility of this very kind of vast and ever-changing human experience. Just as the seasons change, we too can change. Just as evolution takes place, as things come and things sort of fall away, all of that is mirrored in what is possible within the human spirit, within the human soul, within any individual's existence and life, and at any given point in time. And so what is happening with you right now, what you're experiencing now, how these gifts are kind of translating into your material reality, the abundance which you are creating, or the abundance mindset which you are creating. It is something to where, in ways that you can't even anticipate, with this idea of a single acorn, this will be an inspiration to others. You may be that voice in the dark, that light in the darkness that helps somebody kind of recognize that hope, that spark that still exists within them. being that inspiration, that point that helps others to really step into their place of empowerment, to take their power back from situations of defeat or loss, to make the most out of the experiences that they have, and to really look at kind of defeat as in fact the recipe for some of the greatest strengths and triumphs in an individual's life. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.